Dear viewers, what if the man you kicked to the curb turned out to be the one signing your paycheck? Tonight, we bring you a story of arrogance, humiliation, and ultimate justice. It was a freezing Chicago night. The mall was alive with shoppers, music, and lights. But just outside stood a man who didn't fit the picture. His name was James Carter, a middle-aged black man with worn clothes, cracked shoes, and tired eyes. To everyone passing by, he looked like nothing more than a homeless man seeking shelter from the cold. But James carried himself with quiet dignity. He stepped into the mall, hoping only for warmth and a place to rest. That's when he heard it. Boots. Heavy. Sharp. Coming closer. Ethan Parker, the mall security guard. A man who wore his uniform like a crown. "Hey, you can't sit here," Ethan barked. "This ain't a shelter. Get out." James looked up calmly. "I'm not causing trouble, sir. Just resting for a moment." But Ethan sneered, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "You don't belong here. You're nothing but a bum." Laughter rippled from a few teenagers. James's cheeks flushed, but his voice stayed steady. "I have every right to be here." That was enough to set Ethan off. He grabbed James by the arm, dragged him across the polished floor, and shoved him out into the cold. Before the doors closed, James looked Ethan in the eye and said softly, "Be careful how you treat people. You never know who they are." 2 days later, the mall executives gathered for their quarterly board meeting. Ethan had been invited to give a report on safety and security. It was his chance to impress the higher-ups. The secretary stood. "Ladies and gentlemen, our majority shareholder has arrived." The doors swung open, and in walked James Carter. But this time, he wasn't in ragged clothes. He wore a tailored suit, polished shoes, and the quiet authority of a man who owned the ground beneath their feet. Every executive rose. Every voice went silent, except Ethan's heartbeat pounding in his ears. James sat at the head of the table. His eyes scanned the room and locked on Ethan. James spoke slowly, his words heavy with meaning. "2 nights ago, I walked this mall dressed as an ordinary man. I want to see how people are treated when they don't look wealthy. What I discovered was shameful." The room shifted uncomfortably. James's gaze never left Ethan. "One of your guards mocked me, insulted me, and threw me out. Not because I caused trouble, but because of how I looked. That is not the spirit of this mall. It will not be tolerated." Ethan tried to stammer. "Sir, I didn't know. It was a mistake." James cut him off. "Didn't know what? That I was homeless? That I was poor? And does that strip me of dignity?" The room was silent. Executives nodded in agreement. James leaned forward, voice sharp as steel. "Your job is to protect, not to humiliate. To serve, not to judge. And you failed." He turned to the board. Effective immediately, this man is removed from his position. And starting today, this mall will launch an outreach program for the homeless in our community. This place will be known for compassion, not cruelty. The room erupted in applause. Ethan was escorted out, powerless. The man he called a bump was the man who owned everything. Later that evening, James returned to the mall floor. He paused at the same bench where Ethan had humiliated him. Children waved. Shoppers smiled. But James simply whispered, "Power means nothing if it robs others of their dignity. True strength is measured in compassion." Dear viewers, remember this. The tables can turn at any moment. The one you mock today may decide your fate tomorrow. Respect costs nothing, but the lack of it, it can cost you everything. Because justice always finds its way. Hit the like button, subscribe for more story that matters. See you in my next video.